Hiya, it's Thursday's Talking Reds. We're back in the back kitchen in Liverpool One, just next to the Hilton Hotel. You need to get down here, get your brekkie here, get your cups of tea here. They're really nice, all the staff are great, really will serve you well always, and for a great cause as well, for Liverpool Homeless Football Club. I'm Josh Sexton, or Batman as I'm known, joined today by Robin, who is Lizzi Doyle.
Absolutely not. There's no, I'm Batman and you're Robin.
There's so little to talk about in our morning meeting this morning. Neil was trying to establish whether it's the back kitchen or the bat kitchen. So he was asking who's Batman, and Lizzie didn't rise to the task.
You know what? I did rise to the task, and this is going to backfire. But comment who you think Batman and Robin is, because I want to win.
That's definitely going to backfire on me instead of you, but
the comments definitely begging people to tell me I'm important.
The comments definitely prefer you. The comments definitely prefer you. But that's how little there is to talk about. There's no midweek game, so we're all absolutely losing our minds here. But there is some injury news, though, Lizzie, or some fitness news, if you want to call it that. A few players returning to training this week. Joel Matip is back in full training. So is Shaqiri and Fabinho is set to come back in the next few days as well, which feels massively positive, doesn't it? Look, Liverpool have fought through probably their toughest period of the season in December with having to go away to Qatar and stuff with a limited set of players. I think the number kicking around was sort of 13 outfield players, wasn't it? They've done really well to come through that period, and it feels like now we've got these players coming back at the perfect time.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a godsend that we haven't had a midweek game as well, because you would have been stretching the squad even thinner, and God knows what could have happened in any of those games. I mean, you look at it, we would have been playing Leicester, and it really, you look back now at the League Cup and think, thank God we're out of it in a way, just because of the situation, I think. So, no, it's good news to hear that they're back in training. I heard that Fabinho was back in a couple of days ago, and I started to think, I wonder whether he'd start at Spurs. But I think like Allan put such a good shift in against Everton that I think he might start at Spurs, but I don't know. But just the way that the others are coming back, I think Joel Matip is the big one, and the reason I'm saying that is not against Joe Gomez. It's that if God forbid anything happened to Joe Gomez, we haven't got anyone else.
Nat Phillips.
We've literally got Nat Phillips for a month though, so it can't be after February basically that Joe Gomez, anything happens to him. He can't even get sick. Yeah. You know, he can get sick up until February, but then that's it. That's what it seems like. So I made up that Matip is on his way back, and I think he'll use them as well. I think he'll use the two of them. He rotates the centre halves quite a lot, and it helps with competition.
It's a credit to the lads who've come in though, isn't it? And I'll sort of include Jordan Henderson. I know he hasn't really come into the team, but he's had to fill that Fabinho role. And to be honest, since Fabinho got injured, Henderson's probably had his best spell in a Liverpool shirt. Arguably, he's been absolutely imperious. Joe Gomez coming in for Matip as well has been unreal, and I think that's why Liverpool have sort of fought so well to this point. Is because those lads who've had to come in and do jobs and fill in where there are fitness issues, they've just come in and played out their skin.
Yeah, they've bossed it. Like I remember when Fabinho got injured, I was really quite worried, because it was a fear of the unknown in a way, that we just got so used to Fabinho being there, and there was chat about him, and I'd still argue it as well, that he's our best midfielder, and he was so integral to the way that we played, and how could you play without him? And then Jordan Henderson's just like, oh, hold me drink, do you know what I mean? You're absolutely fine. But what I like about what Henderson's done is that there's not a Fabinho imitation there. He's very much playing his own sort of number 6 role, and I think he's been doing it absolutely. He's been fantastic. He's not put a foot wrong. Like you say, probably playing some of his best football. So when Fabinho does come back, it's like, all right, Henderson, you've got to go back right.
You almost don't want to move things around, do you?
Now it's like. And he'll still do an amazing job, but I'm just really enjoying Jordan Henderson being back there. But you know what's good? You know, if we do have to rest Fabinho, you just drop Henderson back in and it's all fine. It's all good. It's all good in the hood.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have, and that's the fitness news. There's going to be some transfer news in the second part, but first, just a little clip from our transfer show yesterday where a few of the lads compared the merits of Nathan Ake and Kalidou Koulibaly. You decide for yourself.
As I say, Kev, we have seen Koulibaly up close and personal quite a few times over the last 2 seasons. How highly do you rate him?
He's brilliant. He's, in my opinion, he's the second best centre-half in the world after Van Dijk. It's one of them where you think, what a partnership they'd be, but it actually doesn't work because they're both left-sided. Obviously, you could consider moving Virgil across to the right, but if you've got the best centre-half in the world and he's playing where he's playing, he's obviously got a great relationship with Robertson. Why would you do it? So, for me, Koulibaly, he's probably going to write his own cheque when it comes to the summer, isn't he? He turns 29 in the summer, so it's his last big move really. He's probably got 3 or 4 years in him. And it strikes me that the amount of money that he's going to be able to command, probably it rules out most clubs. Like West Ham, obviously he's desperate to play for David Moyes, who wouldn't be, but the likes of them, Tottenham, Arsenal, well, actually Arsenal probably do pay the wages, but whether they could attract him, I don't think they probably could. He strikes me as a Man United signing, just because if they can get into the Champions League, which I don't think they're going to do, we done a show on that yesterday, but they'll pay the wages. You're talking probably for someone like him and for the desperate situation they're going to find themselves in, no doubt, you're probably talking 350 grand a week, something like that. And that rules out the majority of clubs. Now, whether he's got the ambition, he thinks, well, I don't really fancy that, I fancy going somewhere else. I don't know, but if I was United, I'd be banging the door down. But obviously they've got the issue that they've just paid £80 million for Harry Maguire, and listen, that goes to show that paying a lot of money for a player does not make them good.
Not in and of itself, that's true.
Yeah, a little clip from our transfer show filmed yesterday there for you. If you want to get more of that, make sure you download the Anfield Wrap app. It's available on Apple and Android, and it's where you can get all this content in one place. And if you download it today, then you'll get a load of free tokens. And we've also got a Virgil van Dijk interview on there, so all the reason to download it, isn't it? But Lizzie, the transfer news, the big transfer news at Liverpool at the moment is that Allan has left the club.
I can't believe Allan's gone, you know. Like, I love Allan. He's boss Allan, isn't he?
He was honestly, there was a point where he was meant to be the next big thing at Liverpool. There's a lot of talk about him. He never gets his work permit, so he never actually makes a competitive appearance for the club. I think he might have made some pre-season appearances, but I'd be lying if I said I could remember them. But it reminds me of a bit of a different era at the club, and it's weird when you see these players who've kicked around for a bit leaving. He's been at the club 4.5 years, which is sort of mental when you think about it. He's just a young Brazilian. He's gone back to Brazil now, and it just reminds me of a different era at the club where, you know, we make these signings and you're almost like forcing yourself to big them up. I remember having an argument with an Evertonian when we signed Lazar Markovic about who was better out of him and Gerard Deulofeu, which is a terrible argument now when you think about it. But
best of a bad bunch.
Honestly, but now it feels like the club gets everything right. We've got kids there who are really kicking on, getting to the first team, and it's a good time to be a Red, isn't it?
It is, and listen, to be honest, I didn't really know who you meant until you said his full name, and that's a time sort of gone by, and you're always going to have kids come through that don't make it, that will move on. You're always going to get the names which will not make it to the first team. It's just the way it goes. It's just the way football goes. But it sort of links back to me with the Pedro Chirivella thing, because I held my hands up on Monday because I mocked him. Not mocked him, but I mocked the fact that he'd been here for so long and I feel like we hadn't seen him, but then all of a sudden he appears out the blue and he puts in a performance and I feel like an idiot. But I think he was part of that sort of little that group of players, the Lazar Markovic, the Allan. But this shows you how unbelievable Jurgen Klopp has been for this football club, that type of player under the right stewardship, in the right, you know, academy settings, gets to come in and put a performance in like that. And the club would have been looking at him with 6 months left on his contract going, we'll just get rid of him. And now they're talking of a new contract for the lad. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing, and it doesn't surprise me that this fella's gone. I haven't heard about him for ages. You'd heard a couple of names, and I think the names you'd expect to see will be the ones that you saw play against Everton. I think if he's been there for 4.5 years and he's not making any moves towards even that bench, or Villa, you know what I mean? That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of them where you wish him all the best, but, you know...
All the best, Allan.
A loss to our midfield reserves, he is probably not. But it's interesting, Liz, there's a question from yesterday's Talking Reds. We've been a bit shit with your questions recently, sorry. We'll try and get back to that now that we're back in the office.
Yeah, exactly. We've got the excuse, have we now? So.
No, exactly. We've got no excuse anymore. But there was a comment saying, how many of Gini, Lallana and Milner will be at Anfield next season? And to be honest, Lizzie, when I read it, I just my instant response was, well, all three of them. Yeah.
Mine was definitely Milner, because he's literally just signed a two-year contract, so it'd be really shit at Milner to just get off now, I think. I'd say a couple of months ago I questioned Lallana. I definitely questioned whether Lallana would still be there. Like, I didn't know what role he would sort of play. And not just off the Everton performance, but a couple of times when he's come and stepped in, he's played a couple of 90 minutes, Klopp loves him. Like, he loves him. And I think if Adam Lallana's happy to stay in the sort of capacity that he's in now, then you'll see him there. It all depends on what Adam Lallana wants, I think, because Jurgen Klopp will say, listen, I want you here. This is what I want from you. This is what I expect. And if Adam Lallana's happy with that, Adam Lallana will be at the club. Gini Wijnaldum,
it wasn't even a question until last week, was it?
I mean, but then, like, all these rumours are coming up and I'm starting to panic, because I think, what do you do without Gini? Like, when he's not there, you do miss him. And he's, he's about 29 now, isn't he? He's the vice-captain for Holland. But then I think, you play every week. Like, you're in the best team in the world at the minute. Hopefully the thing happens at the end of the season, like the really nice thing. You know, we're European champions. We could potentially be European champions again. We've got a huge future ahead of us. And he's a guaranteed starter. So I don't know why you'd want to leave, and I don't know if that's just me being naive.
This is what I sort of think about all three of these players, though. You see it with Milner's new deal. There's obviously talk of him going back to Leeds before he signs the new deal and sort of having that nice heartfelt reunion with his boyhood club. But he signs at Liverpool, and he signs at Liverpool knowing that he's not going to start every game, but he signs at Liverpool because there's ambition to still win trophies there. He's obviously won the Premier League at City, he's now won the Champions League with us, but you can tell he wants to do more. There's more he wants to achieve in his career, and he knows he can do that at Liverpool. And I sort of think the same for Lallana. We were talking on the way over actually about, you know, the PSG rumours that there's been about Lallana. His contract's obviously up in the summer, so there's a chance that they could basically go and sign him now, I believe. But he'll want to win more trophies, and would he rather win Ligue 1, and would he have a better chance of winning the Champions League at Liverpool? You'd think he would.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say PSG. I was going to say I don't think he does have a better chance. And I think the only thing I'd say with the PSG argument is you've got to look at it as probably it'll be a lot more money. Yeah. And that is a factor, no matter what anyone says, in any job, in any way, you know, any circumstance.
Living in Paris would be all right.
Living in Paris would be sound, like, wouldn't it? A little apartment on the scene. And that's what I'm saying, that's another draw, but also, like, Adam Lallana spent his whole career in England, in English football. He's got the opportunity to play, if it is true, at what is classed as an elite level club. You'd have to call them that, don't you? Even though I know a lot of it's money based, but he's got the chance to play at another elite club in a different country, in a different league, different culture, probably for the last time, I'd say, in his career. I think if he's going to go, he'd have to go now. And this is not me pushing Adam Lallana out the door. Please don't go. But I'm saying I'd understand it only if it was something like that, because how would you turn it down, really? I think if he was 25 or 26, I'd be going, come on, stay here. But I think the fact that he's 30, it probably would be his last opportunity for something like that.
It sounds like out of the three, you're about a 2.5, would you say?
2.33 recurring.
I'm going to go for all three because I'm a massive optimist, but if you do have a question for us, make sure you put it in the comments below and we will get someone to answer it on tomorrow's video. But obviously we're playing Spurs at the weekend, that's going to be on Sky Sports. If you don't fancy listening to Martin Tyler's voice, you've got the chance to listen to Neil Atkinson's and John Gibbons instead. Or if you're over in the States or in Australia or wherever, you don't want to hear Richard Keys and Andy Gray or whoever it is over there chatting wham. Some sort of sexist wham that they're chatting and saying that Jurgen Klopp should be sacked, then you can listen to Neil and John commentating over the game if you download the Hot Mic app. Hotmic.io is the website for that. It's available on Android now. It wasn't before. They commentated over the
it was
Salzburg game.
Yeah, so I was actually there when they done it, and it's boss. So the reason it's not really being publicised is because they were a bit nervous of doing it. If you think about it, like the commentating for the first time, like commentate over the game, but it's mad and it's really good. So what they do is they have like these little mad headsets, like they're in a call centre, and you can watch them as well. There's a camera, and what you do with the Hot Mic app is you basically sync up your phone with your telly, or I don't know the actual, it's all there and explains in the app and on the website, but it means that you can watch the Sky Sports stream but you'll hear Neil instead. I think give it a go, like there'll be a lot more like probably swearing and just like fun than listen to Martin Tyler just grunting about how much he hates Liverpool. Give it a go, definitely.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I think the lads might have a pint while they do it as well, because they're always want to do that, aren't they? So.
Oh God, yeah, and it's like the app's really easy to use as well. So if you download the app, follow Anfield Rap, and like when you download the app,
yeah, you're going to be asked for an invite code. That's what you type in. You type in Anfield Rap. You make sure you do that, because that's when they know that it's us who they're sending you to, and then you can follow us, share us, all that good stuff when you're on there, and obviously listen to Neil and John.
Give us the credit, basically, is what we're trying to say. Make sure you put Anfield Rap in, because they need to recognise that you're coming to them through us, and we really enjoy doing it and want to carry on enjoy doing it, so make sure you put that code in.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's all from Talking Reds today. Make sure you download Hot Mic, make sure you download the Anfield Rap app as well. Up the Reds.